Hello there. Welcome to my show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak for November 21, 2020. It's Saturday, and tomorrow is the Lord's Day, the first day of the week, where we celebrate that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. And so that has become the Christian Sabbath day. So Jews celebrate Sabbath on the Saturday, seventh day of the week. But after Jesus' resurrection, Christians moved the Sabbath day to Sunday. Um, so many of you will be going to church tomorrow. Over 100 million Americans go to church every Sunday. Obviously, we have out of 330 million people, over 300 million people are Christians in America. That includes all races and ethnic groups, Arab Christians, Black Christians, Latino Christians, Asian Christians, Native American Christians, you name it. Every ethnicity has Christian church. And that is certainly something you can see in Arlington County. Like there's a Mongolian church that's near me, bunch of Latino churches, some led by pastors from Honduras, some from pastors from Guatemala, from Mexico, Brazil, Argentina. There are a lot of countries in Latin America. We have a lot of Ethiopian churches in Arlington County. We have Arabic churches. Yeah, we have a lot of things here in Arlington. Um, so you can see that out of 100 different countries in Arlington, every country from where immigrants came has an immigrant church in this area, which is kind of interesting, you know? Today is National Stuffing Day. Saturday, I guess some families will have a trial run with stuffing before Thanksgiving next Thursday. I went shopping today at Food Lion, not Food Lion, Giant Foods. And, they're having a pretty good deal. You buy two 12 pack, 12 can Coke, you get like three free. So, it's probably the best deal you have in the year. And if you buy like two Pepsi, 2 liter bottles, you get like three free. It's pretty good. So I make sure I use that. In COVID-19 America, every little bit helps, right? Many of you in Arlington County are suffering financially. If you are business owners, there are a lot of small business owners who are, um, from other countries. Out of the hundred more than 100 countries represented in Arlington County, many immigrants start small businesses, right? Some target their own ethnic group. Like I see like some Latino clothing boutiques targeting Latinos, and the signs are all in Spanish. And there are Korean businesses that target primarily Koreans. I'm, as you know, an immigrant from South Korea, and all these businesses are suffering right now. All the small businesses are suffering. Um, and some of them will go bankrupt. It's expected, unfortunately, in COVID-19 America. Some of the immigrants may end up going back to their old country because their small businesses completely fail. Maybe not in November, maybe not in December, but certainly in January, February, and we still have few more months of COVID-19 to go. And you can expect a nationwide shutdown of most, if not all, of the cities and the states at some point from now until May 2021. So you're going to expect businesses to completely go bankrupt. So some immigrants will go back to their home country because they immigrated here, but majority of their relatives are still in their home country, right? If they immigrated from Guatemala, maybe 90% or more of their relatives are in Guatemala. Majority of my relatives are in South Korea. So I understand how that is. My uncle, who immigrated to America and started a Korean church here, got his PhD from Samuel Noah Kramer, who he was his last PhD student. Samuel Noah Kramer was one of the most famous professors at University of Pennsylvania for Jewish studies. His focus was Sumerian civilization. And my uncle got his PhD here and then senior pastor of the church in Utah, where COVID-19 is spiking like crazy. And then he went back to Korea, um, and he became a provost of a Korean college that he founded with the guy who became the president. And they went from ground zero to 30,000 students in like less than 10 years. Yeah. So my uncle is a very good educator, and he attracted a lot of students. And the guy who's the president of that university, now one of the biggest Christian universities in Korea, is a Christian pastor as well, and he's a very good at organization and operation. So they were a perfect match. So those two, the duo, were able to create a Christian university from nothing, make it one of the biggest Christian universities in South Korea. So that's also possible in America. As you know, Reverend Jerry Falwell founded Liberty University from nothing, and it became great in his own lifetime. And Oral Roberts founded Oral Roberts University. Majority of the Christian colleges were started by like a Christian pastor, um, and they were, built up from scratch, from nothing. You have a lot of Nazarene colleges; those are mostly church started by local churches. And then you have Christian colleges that were started by denominations, like Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan, started by Christian Reformed Church. You have a lot of Baptist colleges, generally started by local churches, but some by, like Texas Baptist Convention. You have Texas Christian University, Baylor University. These are Baptist universities. Well, actually, Texas Christian University isn't Baptist. I think it's the Christian Church or the Church of Christ. Um, yeah, Christians are everywhere in America, and they're dominant. Every organization leadership is a Christian. You're going to have majority of the organizations having Christian leadership. Many of them are very active in the church and in their denomination, and Christianity is the most important identity for them. I'm sure that's like that in Virginia Hospital Center as well, and Innova Fairfax, Innova Alexandria Hospital for doctors and nurses, and the C-suite, the chief executive, chief operating officer, chief, uh, you know, um, nursing officer, chief medical officer. You have all these leaders, many of whom are very devout Christians, dedicated to Jesus Christ. Obviously, they're learning. They're not clergy or anything, so there's a lot of gaps in knowledge that they need. That's why they go to church every Sunday to learn more, read the Bible. But yeah, so this is a Christian country. Every aspect of America, whether in politics, Nancy Pelosi says she's Catholic. Joe Biden tries to say that he's a devout Catholic. Obviously, he's not. He supports abortion and gay marriage. So by definition, he's not a devout Catholic, devout Christian. The Bible condemns those. Um, but everybody wants to claim that they are Christian. The fact that Joe Biden worked so hard to try to convince you that he's a Christian shows you he understands that this is Christian America, a Christian country, and he needs to try to persuade you that he is a believer, Christian believer, because he knows that he will never have mandate to rule if he is not accepted by Christians in America. He knows that. And that's why we've never had a Jewish president, because there are 6 million Jews in America, and 330 million citizens, out of whom 300 million are Christians. So it doesn't matter how smart you are, they will not vote for you because they are Christians and they want Christians in to be the president. just just that way. People are that way. They vote for people who are similar to them, right? So Tom Bayer, the guy that I'm running against for year 2022, November 8th election right now in U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th district. He goes to church. You know, he goes to church with his wife. They go to like an Episcopalian church or an Anglican church uh, in in Alexandria, city of Alexandria, I believe. So every politician wants to try to persuade you that they're church going and they're Christians. Um, because they know as politicians that that is the most important thing in America for majority of the people, if not all of the people who call themselves Christians. This includes people who never go to church in 365 days a year. They still consider themselves Christians. They just don't go to church. Um, there are, out of 300 million, as I said, 100 million go to church every Sunday. About another 100 million go to church off and on. Another 100 million don't go to church. Some of them listen to Christian radio. Some of them listen to Christian TV. Some of them do not even do that. But they consider themselves devout Christians, or they consider themselves at least believing Christians, or in terms of identity as Christians. This is a Christian country. So that's why, you can see why everybody, politicians in both parties, are trying to persuade you that they're good Christians, right? Because they need the legitimacy to rule. They need the mandate to rule, and they're never going to get the mandate. In a Christian America with 300 million American citizens being identifying themselves as Christians, they're never going to have the mandate, and they know that. Um, yeah, you could always do a stress test. I'm 100% sure I'm right. Um, yeah. So, and this is not just in politics in the U.S. Senate, U.S. House of Representatives, U.S. presidency. This is not only, in local state governments like Virginia state legislature, Maryland state legislature. It's in every aspect of life. Education, as I said, many of the Christian pastors' wives are teachers or nurses. So out of the 4 million nurses, I would say fully more than 3.7 million nurses consider themselves Christians, and many of them are devout Christians. And so they may not be interested in working with AACN or LLN, NLN, or ANA, or any of the nursing organization, professional organizations, because they're more interested in working in their church in their free time. But it still doesn't change the fact that for over 3.7 million nurses in America, if not more, Christianity is very important, or the most important for them. Same with teachers. There are over 2-3 million teachers in America, and majority of them are, self-identify themselves as Christians, and they don't get involved with American American Federation of Teachers, AFT, or National Educational Associations. They're not interested in that kind of stuff, union activity or professional activity. They're interested in, working in their church, that they volunteer their free time at church, you know. But so these are the majority of the teachers are like that in America. Probably over 95% of the teachers are like that. And we could always do a stress test to find out. I'm 100% sure I'm right. Um, this is a Christian nation, and as you know, I'm a professionally trained historian, so I know how societies function. I understand the concept of bureaucracy, uh, and functionality, and de facto, and de jure. Many of you are not historians, so you live in your little box, and you think that's America. It's not like that. Uh, as a historian, and I'm not trying to belittle you or say anything that makes you feel bad, but I'm a historian. I'm a professional historian, so I'm an expert. So as an expert, I'm just explaining to you how reality is in history and in society. I have devoted decades to studying civilizations, institutions, government, policy. That's what historians do. So in a sense, this show, COVID-19 Update by Heerak, is a show where I provide education to you, to the general public, about what history is, how societies function. So in a sense, you're kind of watching an education program about institutions, about history, about organizations, identity politics. So, as an expert, I'm happy to provide the service to you through this show every day. And as you know, I'm an expert of Jewish studies. So I often bring in very deep insights into Jewish studies. And as you know, I'm a card carrying expert in theology. Uh, and I get invited by top-notch theologians all over the world to give my latest research and analysis thoughts on theology and the Bible. So I provide you some education and information as a expert of theology, expert of Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. So you're very fortunate that this show exists to provide you with education and insight, uh, and that one of the leading experts in the world is providing this to you. So you're very blessed because of this show. Today is National Stuffing Day, and hopefully, some of you celebrate it by having good stuffing. Great stuffing can make a Thanksgiving great. And people always try to see whose stuffing is the best, right? Because turkey is the turkey. Although, obviously you can prepare it better, but stuffing, that's real art form. Um, as you know, I've been doing a Bachelor in Polish program for several days, and so I'm continuing with that. But tomorrow is a Sunday, and today is, the Lord's tomorrow's Sunday, which we call Christians call the Lord's Day. Lord meaning Jesus Christ. So I thought, I'll take a break and share with you some photos from the churches in Poland. I went to churches in Poland, obviously. On Sunday, I went and worshiped there. I attended worship services. So here are photos of several different types of church. The one next to the cross is in Gdansk, and I'm just waiting for people to fill in. It ended up being completely full with church members. It was a great worship service. I didn't understand the words because I don't understand Polish. But it was a wonderful worship service. It was a Catholic church. Next to that is a church in Warsaw. So I went to that church and it was completely filled as well. Obviously, I didn't understand a word because I don't speak Polish. But it was a good service. It was a Catholic church. So I basically was able to follow along, because whichever church you go to, they follow the same kind of liturgy, same kind of order of worship service. So you know basically what's going on. And then there's a facade of a church building there. Poland is beautiful. It's a country with 99% or 100% who are Catholics. It's a very devout Catholic country, which I like. I think Christians being devout to Jesus Christ is a very beautiful thing, and that's one of the reasons I really like Poland. It takes its pride as being a Christian nation, as it should. Many Americans take pride in America being a Christian nation as well. As you know, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, running for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District, and my motto is to bring America back to God. I'm very proud of my motto. I've organized Back to God committee made up of pastors and elders from Virginia's 8th District, Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County. And it represents different ethnic groups in the area, including Latino churches, church pastors. And so, and I'm planning to include more Latino pastors, Ethiopian pastors, Mongolian pastors, Chinese pastors. There are a lot of Christian churches here. Just like a mile away from here, there's a big Chinese Presbyterian church in America, PCA church, that has worship services in Mandarin and Cantonese and English. Yeah, it's ethnically Chinese. So yeah, there's a devout, and Presbyterian church in America is very conservative. They're opposed to abortion. They're opposed to gay marriage, like the Catholic churches. Um, because holy matrimony is a sacrament between man and a woman. And so, So it's just like Arlington County, which opposes gay marriage officially, because it goes against the sacrament of holy matrimony. And there are a lot of Catholics in Arlington County, Arlington diocese, and that's Virginia St. District. So the Presbyterian Church in America, which is Chinese church, it's a big church in Arlington. They see eye to eye on abortion and gay marriage. They oppose it. But then most Christians oppose abortion and gay marriage. This is America, and the Bible condemns it. So obviously they're going to follow the Bible. So it's no surprise the majority of 300 million Americans who call themselves Christians are going to oppose it. You know what I mean? There's no surprise there. Um, yeah, so unfortunately, COVID-19 is getting worse and worse. And we have 1,529 people have died in 24 hours. Today is Saturday, so reporting may be slightly delayed. Some may be reporting a little bit later. You know how it is. It's like a kind of a day off, Saturday. So our confirmed cases are now at 12,059,686, and our death is at 255,800. So, we're growing at the rate of around 1,500 to 2,500 every day. So it's pretty serious. I'm predicting that by next week, we'll probably have break through 3,000 per day death rate. And then it may grow exponentially from there, like maybe 4,000 per day. But let's see how that goes. A lot of states are beginning to see spike in COVID-19 death. Um, and that's happening in Virginia and Maryland and Washington, D.C. too. But certainly, like Philadelphia and Pennsylvania, their death rate is growing. So their death may double every few days. It's been doubling every several days in Pennsylvania. So you shouldn't be surprised if they hit like 300, 400 deaths per day sometime next week. Um, and that's happening not just with Pennsylvania, but a lot of different states. It may happen with New Jersey as well. And New York may not be far behind. So we can easily have 3 to 4,000 deaths per day, I think, and that's possible next week. I would say, and you shouldn't be surprised if we have like 3 to 4,000 deaths per day next week. Within 7 days. Um, but the what I would call like hell on earth that we're experiencing in America. Not everybody's experiencing that right now. You know, our reality is different from reality that's found in other countries, certainly other continents. Like Africa, if you see here, and I brought you data from Africa, the percentages are kind of wrong. Well, actually, just ignore the percentages. Um, sometimes you have like glitches, technological glitches, but the cases and death you can focus on. So South Africa has 765,409 cases. Death rate is at 20,845. And, Morocco is number two with um, 320,962 cases, and their death rate is at 5,000, or two, like their death is at 5,256. Um, Egypt, which actually gave Virginia and Maryland our first cases of COVID, the tourists went to take a cruise at Egypt and they got infected and brought the COVID over to Maryland. And there was one person in Maryland and there was one person in Virginia, and then it starts spreading. Um, but Egypt, they didn't really increase that much, So COVID-19 cases um, are 112,676. Death is at like 6,535. Ethiopia, there are a lot of Ethiopians here in Arlington and Southern Maryland, like Montgomery County and Howard County. This area has the most number of Ethiopians in America. And Eritreans, they're like neighboring countries. So there are 105,352 cases and 1,636 deaths. So it's a drop in the bucket. It's like in one day we have 1,529 dying. You see, I lifted up my mask and coughed. And if you're in an elevator and somebody did that, you could get COVID. Um, yeah, because elevator is less than 6 feet away, and it's kind of small enclosed space. So you're supposed to sneeze into the mask, but since there's no one around right now, I can sneeze out, but and I don't have COVID, so it doesn't really affect it. But you never know who has COVID or not, right? I do not have COVID. I know that. But how do you know that the person riding in the elevator with you do not have COVID? You don't know that, right? Um, Tunisia is number five, 87,471 cases, and their death rate or death, they have 7,700 or no, 2,752. Um, yeah, so right now, the big tragedy in America is we have record hospitalization, and they're spiking like crazily, like everywhere in America. And I predicted this. I mean, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress of Virginia State District, and I predicted that this would happen. So there's no surprise there. Um, yeah, because I'm generally right because I'm the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. My predictions generally are more correct than predictions by like Dr. Fauci, Dr. Hahn of FDA, Dr. Redfield of Center for Disease Control, Dr. Gottlieb, a former director of FDA, Food and Drug Administration, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, uh, of CNN. My predictions are generally more right than theirs because I am the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. Um, I'm sure all of them are watching this show right now. Um, but I've tried to use my power for good because I'm aware that I am the Leonardo da Vinci of 21st century. That's why I brought you this program. This program started on April 2nd, 2020, in order to save you and your children from COVID-19 death. And those of you who have watched this show have benefited tremendously from it. So you should let your friends know about this show and make sure you watch the show every day. So Pennsylvania COVID-19 levels reach highest hospitalization rate since May. And so that's by staff and WPXI today. And the significant quote from that is the Pennsylvania Department of Health said Saturday that the state has reached levels of COVID-19 hospitalizations not seen since May when they were at their highest in the state. There are 3,162 individuals hospitalized with COVID-19, according to the health department. Of those, 661 patients are in the intensive care unit. Most of the patients hospitalized are 65 or older. The trend in the 14-day moving average of number of hospitalized patients per day has increased by nearly 1,900 since the end of September, the release data. You see, it's like exponential growth. So end of September, like in 1 month and a half, 1,900 people. So that's going to exponentially grow because cases are growing. Because they have over 5,000 cases per day, in Pennsylvania. Um, and so they're headed to like 10, 15,000 cases per day, Pennsylvania. It's really sad. Um, but if they have like 10,000 cases per day, that's like 1,000 deaths per day, right? That's just one state, Pennsylvania. So that's coming in several weeks. The death lag behind by like 5 to 6, 7 weeks. Um, yeah. So second article. Um, the second article is 1,000 U.S. Hospitals are critically short on staff. 1,000 hospitals are critically short on staff. and more expect to be soon. This is only November, as you know, and I'm predicting that every single one of the area hospitals will be completely filled in November. Yeah, that's Virginia Hospital Center, Unova Fairfax Hospital, Unova Alexandria Hospital, Children's National Hospital, George Washington University Hospital, Sibley Hospital, uh, Georgetown MedStar Hospital, MedStar Washington Hospital Center. They're going to be completely packed in November. And then we have December, January, February, March, April, May, June to go. Basically, like 7 more months to go. Um, yeah. So the significant quote from here is more than 1,000 hospitals across the United States are critically short on staff, according to the numbers released this week by the Department of Health and Human Services. So that's the federal government agency that focuses on these factors, right? Healthcare, hospitals. Those hospitals, which span all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico, represent about 18% of all hospitals that report their staffing status to HHS. So right now, 18% of US hospitals are basically packed. And that number is expected to grow. 21% of all hospitals reporting say they anticipate having critical shortages in the next week. That's still November, right? Next week. And that's why I'm saying Virginia's hospitals will be completely packed, Northern Virginia, DC area hospitals. And they're being critically short because nurses are getting sick with COVID-19, obviously. Some are dying. And some nurses are taking a leave of absence because they don't want to infect their family if they have like little children. So combination factors are influencing why there's a shortage. And that's going to happen in this area as well. As COVID-19 deaths start to spike, you're going to have nurses in Virginia Hospital Center, Unova Fairfax Hospital, Unova Alexandria Hospital, Children's National Hospital, MedStar Georgetown University Hospital, MedStar Washington Hospital Center, um, um, George Washington University Hospital, Sibley Hospital. You're going to have nurses taking leave of absence, like for 6 months. So they're going to be gone for 6 months. And the reason that they're going to do that is some of them may have like cancer, and so their immune is compromised, and they don't want to get COVID-19 and die. Some of them, may have other conditions that are serious, um, and so they're going to take 6 months off because they don't want to risk dying. Some of them may not have any underlying conditions, but they just don't want to jeopardize the lives of their children, especially if they're little. And if they have like 3 children under the age of 10, they don't want to be the source of spreading COVID-19 to them and then killing them. So some mothers who are nurses will take time off for 6 months because things are going to get better by June next year. It's like June this year. I mean, the summer you still have thousands of people dying, but in summertime, people don't develop as much of a symptom. More people survive. You know, and and so it's milder in the summer. It's more deadly in the winter. So some nurses will take like 6 months off. You know, and so that's something that you probably would not be surprised by. Um, you may see in your hospital some nurses who've taken PTO, paid time off. Some may have taken the whole December off. You just don't know. You know what? You know. So these things are happening all over America right now. So you can understand why there's a shortage of nurses. And as nurses start dying in large numbers, um, you're going to have obviously a shortage of nurses. I'm predicting that at least 12 nurses will die before Christmas in every hospital in this area. That's Virginia Hospital Center, where I work as an RN nurse. Uh, Unova Fairfax Hospital, Unova Alexandria Hospital, George Washington Hospital, um, MedStar Georgetown University Hospital, MedStar Washington Hospital Center, Sibley Hospital. Each of these hospitals will have minimum 12 nurses die. And I'm just talking about nurses. Obviously, there will be doctors who die, respiratory therapists who die of COVID, uh, nursing assistants or patient care technicians who die of COVID. There may be more patient care technicians who die of COVID than nurses. We don't know. But I'm saying minimum 12 nurses will die in every hospital. Unfortunately, that's it's COVID-19. What do you expect, right? Especially in the emergency room and ICU. A lot of nurses are susceptible to COVID and die. Um, so I'm going to do a cheer for my Georgetown University clinical nurse leader cohort members. As you know, I graduated on August 24, 2020. And there were 25 of us who graduated on August 24, 2020 in a master's program in clinical nurse leader at Georgetown University. And I just want to do a cheer for them because some of them work in emergency rooms, some of them work in ICU, and some of them who are in these settings may get COVID and some of them may die. I know that some of us in our clinical nurse leader program at Georgetown University, which is a Catholic university, as you know, it's a #1 Catholic university in America. Some of them will have like pre-existing conditions, so they could die from those, even if they don't work in emergency room or ICU, intensive care unit. So I'm predicting that 5 out of 25 who graduated on August 24, 2020 will die before Christmas 2020. Obviously, I don't want anyone to die because I love you guys, but this is COVID-19. So we have to face the reality, right? So I'm going to go cheer for you. CNO 2020, yay! Georgetown University, you may die from COVID before Christmas 2020, but you can always write on your tombstone, you graduated from Georgetown on August 24, 2020, yay! So, yeah, so, hopefully, none of you die, but some of you may. I'm predicting 5 of you will. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm just laying out reality scenarios because as you know, we're clinical nurse leaders. We have to be real about this. We can't live in the fictional world. Like, there are some people who believe the fiction the virus will cure everybody or the vaccine will cure everybody. And we know the vaccine may not work at all. Like 100% of the people who vaccine can get COVID and die. That's a possibility. We know that. Every healthcare expert knows that. Yeah, it may not work at all in real scenario settings because there's more than one strain of COVID-19. There were 40 strains of COVID-19 in January 2020. How many strains do you think there are now? Probably like hundreds. And the vaccine was created using just one strain. You know what I mean? How is that going to protect you from hundreds of different strains? Like because everybody is like moving around, you have like many strains in every area, especially in America. There's a lot of movement. So there are a lot of different strains. So, you know, what I mean? And the vaccine's not going to work. Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, it's unfortunate. It'd be great if vaccine works, but yeah, if don't bet on it working. That's all I say. We don't want you to lose your house over that. Yeah, so um, yeah, the critical shortages in the hospital, that's going to be horrible. That's going to happen in Virginia Hospital Center too, where I work as a nurse. Um, because it's going to happen in every hospital. It's going to happen in 100% of the hospitals in this area. Either Fairfax Hospital, Alexandria Hospital, George Washington University Hospital, Children's National Hospital, MedStar Georgetown University Hospital, Sibley Hospital, which is part of Johns Hopkins Hospital Network, and Children's National Hospital. I mean, they're all going to have nurse shortages because you're going to have minimum 12 nurses die just before Christmas, or you're going to have nurses die after Christmas every month. in every one of these hospitals during the height of COVID-19. Um, yeah, so it's obviously you're going to lose nurses to COVID-19 death, and then you're going to lose nurses who are going to take leave of absence because they don't want to infect their children and end up killing them. And you're going to have nurses who are going to get sick with COVID-19 who may end up in ICU themselves. So this is coming. We're just beginning our flu season, as you know. Um, yeah, so yeah, things are going to be really, really bad. The third article and says don't use remdesivir in hospitalized coronavirus. World Health Organization panel advises. This is by Alexandria Hine. This is up-to-date news. As you know, World Health Organization is highly respected by all the doctors and nurses, and they're supposed to be the global leader on healthcare. And the World Health Organization, WHO, has advised against using Gilead's remdesivir in patients hospitalized with coronavirus. Weeks after the drug was shown to have quote, little or no effect during the agency's multi-country solidarity trial. So in real life conditions, they see that people are dying, and it's not really helping at all. Um, the WHO Guideline Development Group issued updated guidance on Friday and said it was based on evidence that found that costly intravenous drug had no meaningful effect on death rate, meaning you take it, you still die. You may die a little bit later, but you still die. That's what it's saying. You may die in 5 days instead of 3 days, but you still die. That's what it's saying, or maybe less than that. You may die at 10 p.m., but you're going to die at 5, 5 p.m., something like that. So that's what they're saying. The drug must be administered for 5 to 10 days intravenously and was the first to be granted FDA approval for COVID-19 treatment, but it's not really a treatment. So we're finding out it doesn't work. The panel found a lack of evidence that remdesivir improved outcomes that matter to patients. So time is a very good indicator, right? Over time, you find out that some things just don't work, and remdesivir doesn't work. Yeah, so there's zero treatment for COVID-19 right now. Nothing's working. According to World Health Organization, right? We don't really have treatment modalities. Every treatment that is being used is proven to not really work. So that's the tragedy of COVID-19. It is so new. It started like November in 2019, and scientists are finding out more and more about it, and it's scaring them. But they understand the truth that there's no cure right now. There's no cure. None of the vaccines. I predict Heerak Christian Kim, an independent candidate. Yeah, I may run as a Republican. It's 2 years away. The primary is like a year and a half away, so I have time. You know, um, I don't think any of the vaccines will work. I mean, I wish they will work, but I don't live in a fictional world. I live in a real world. And because there are so many different strains of COVID-19 that has developed, not all of them have been identified yet, it stands to scientific reason that they won't work in real life scenario, right? Um, the scientists just don't know enough about COVID. So yeah, obviously drug companies want to rush it and get U.S. government to pay them billions of dollars for it because they want to make money. But it's like remdesivir. Obviously, they want to make money off of it, but and maybe they honestly believe that it will work, but it doesn't work. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you're looking at. As you know, healthcare experts are saying that COVID-19 will go at least until 2022. Some say it's forever, like HIV virus or hepatitis C virus. It's here with us, even though it was discovered decades ago, and it's killing hundreds of thousands every year. Except, COVID-19 is more dangerous. It may kill millions every year, and it could do that for decades to come. That's a possibility that everybody knows. Every healthcare knows that that's possible. We know that COVID-19 was in America for 365 days a year. Every day it killed somebody since it arrived in America. So we know it's a 365 days a year virus. It's never going to go away. It's not a seasonal virus. So it's here forever, as far as we know. Um, yeah. So yeah, just be careful. Obviously the best way to protect yourself is like self-isolating. Um, some people say, well, they rather take the risk to have fun or be close to with loved ones. You choose what you want to do. People take risks all the time, right? Some people drive like hours to see their loved one and then drive hours back with lack of sleep. Some people get in a car accident and die while they're driving and they fall asleep. These things happen all the time. But some people say, well, that's worth the risk. So you decide what is worth the risk for you. But in terms of, protecting yourself from COVID death, obviously self-isolation is the best way to protect your life. I'm not going home for Thanksgiving, and because I don't want my parents, I don't have COVID, but you just never know, right? What's going to happen. And I just don't want to take the risk, of, anything happening. So I'm not going home for Thanksgiving. And my parents, they're not asking me to come home for Thanksgiving. And our family is very careful that way, and I think it's a good thing. But some families, for them, they want to see their children, they want to see their relatives. And I don't blame you. I mean, this thing is like forever. COVID-19 is forever. So from now to like May, you have to like socially isolate. So, I mean, I can understand some families like, well, let's just celebrate just one day, Thanksgiving, for a few hours. We'll try to wear a mask, or we'll try to be careful. Maybe you get one of those plastic screens that you see in like McDonald's, or when you go grocery shopping, those cashiers have these, glass or plastic screens. Maybe you get that. And you can talk, you can see each other, but you have this glass divisions between each people, and that could be protecting you, right? I mean, if you have these glass divisions in your table, dividing every person in their little compartment, you can still see each other, you can eat the food, but when you talk, your spit doesn't hit anything, right? Because your spit just hits your own food. So when you're eating, you have these glass divisions that protect you from everyone around you. When right, if it's tall enough, it's not going to, when you speak, it's not going to climb up the wall. Like coronavirus is not going to crawl up the wall, right? If there's a, glass between you, like to the right of you, left of you, and in front of you, and it's tall, you could take off your mask and eat. I mean, it's not going to go through the glass, and the person in front of you can talk to you. And if it's like that, like with like 10 people, each one of you can eat and talk within your little glass compartment, and you don't have to wear a mask, right? Um, and you should be fine. And then when you're, afterwards, just make sure you wear a mask. And you may carry the glass screening, and just to be safe. You can have Thanksgiving party safely. I mean, obviously, there's still risk. It's not 100% foolproof. But if you really are bent on having Thanksgiving dinner with your family, you can take precautionary measures to protect each other, and that's one way to do it. Just buy those glass panels. I don't know where you buy them, but I guess you could order them in Amazon.com. You could probably go to Home Depot. They should have it. Maybe even Staples may have it. Uh, you know, maybe Office Depot has it too. Maybe Walmart carries it. I don't know. I haven't looked for it, so I don't know. But they may have it. If they do, you go to Walmart, pick it up, or Kmart, pick it up. Costco. I didn't see any in Italian foods, but they may carry it next week. Who knows? Um, yeah, I mean there are safe ways to protect your family. So if you're bent on having a Thanksgiving dinner, just get a very high, glass protecting thing. To the right of you, you have a panel between each person sitting next to each other, and in the front. Um, yeah, just be smart about it, but it doesn't fully protect you 100%, so there's still risk. So there's a warning there, but I'm trying to help your family. If you're bent on having Thanksgiving dinner, just take precautions like that. It'll reduce infection rates. Obviously, not having like a big dinner is the best, safest way. But as I said, who knows? Your mother and father may die before Christmas, and maybe you want to make sure you have Thanksgiving with them, and that's understandable, especially if they're old. Um, yeah, so you decide what you want. You're not a slave, you know. You do what you want. I'm here to support your family, support you and your children, so they can survive COVID. I'm going to give you recommendations and suggestions that's going to help you survive. And I'm going to give you options, obviously. But you do what you want. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you what's the safest thing to do. But I'm also going to give you options because life is complicated. Sometimes you risk your life in order to impress a girl that you like, right? Some of you guys out there have done that. Um, some guys don't want to risk their life to impress anyone. Um, there are different types of people, but some of you ended up marrying a girl after impressing her, risking your life. So I mean, people are different. People take different levels of risk to get what they want. So I understand that. So I'm here to support you and kind of give you advice and guidance that you need to survive COVID. So hopefully this is helpful to you for Thanksgiving because it's the biggest holiday in America in terms of food and gathering. More people gather for Thanksgiving than for Christmas, right? Christmas is more like a family, your own family thing, father, mother, children. Thanksgiving is like you bring everybody together, like brothers, sisters, relatives, cousins, uncles, aunts, you know. Um, right? That's just the way things are in America. You have like 12 or 15 different pies. So it seems, impractical to tell everybody not to have a Thanksgiving dinner, right? I mean, you know, we don't live in a communist China, right? I mean, you tell people the dangers and give recommendations, but you got to give people options, right? Especially in such an important holiday like Christmas or Thanksgiving, right? We're not talking about Halloween here. You can shut Halloween down. It's not an important holiday. Um, but you can't really shut down Thanksgiving. You can't shut down Christmas. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. So anyway, but I hope that you will be careful. Um, and I hope you will take my recommendations so we can reduce COVID-19 cases and death. Yeah. Um, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope you learned a lot. And as you know, this is a daily show, so tune back in tomorrow. I'll bring you more helpful information that you need to survive COVID. I hope that you will be well and that your family will be well too. See you tomorrow. Bye.